Hello and welcome to another Best Cards 4. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this series is designed to show you some of the best cards for a specific theme or commander and help get you started while you're building your brand new deck. Today's Best Cards 4, Haste. You love to go to combat and swing in, you want those creatures moving as fast as possible. Let's jump in and show you some of the best cards for Haste. We're going to start out with the dynamic duo themselves. Everybody loves them and hates them. Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves. Each one gives your creature haste and another thing, either hexproof or shroud. Hexproof means that your opponent's spells can't target it. Shroud means nobody's spells can target it. In either case, they're relatively cheap to get on the field and they're cheap to equip. So they are a great way to protect one creature and also give it haste. So it's perfect for a commander deck that focuses on commander damage. Or if you have a really big creature that you want to protect and make sure it swings as fast as possible. Next, let's move on to enchantments. These are going to stay on the battlefield and help speed up all of your creatures. There's a lot of options within this realm, but here are some of the best ones. We've got Hammer of Perforos. Costs 3 mana to drop, and its creatures you control have haste. And you can pay 3 and tap it and sack a land to put a creature onto the battlefield, which of course will have haste. So if you have a landfall heavy deck and you've got a lot of lands to get rid of, this can help you make a big army that automatically has haste. Or how about Uncivil Unrest? Non-token creatures you control have Riot. What that means is when they enter the battlefield, you get to choose either give them a +1/+1 counter or give them haste. You can either make your creatures bigger or you can swing faster. Versatility is always a positive thing in Commander and Magic in general. There's also Fever. Creatures you control have haste. Pretty simple, also for 3 mana. Those were all in mono red. How about we switch up the colors a little bit? Femur Ascendancy is green, blue, and red. Creatures you control have haste, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Not only does it give your big creatures haste, your big creatures help draw cards. Card draw is extremely important in any Magic the Gathering format. Finally, how about Fires of Yavimaya? Green and red, creatures you control have haste, and sacrifice Fires of Yavimaya. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Mainly it's for the haste, but in a pinch, you can get rid of it to buff up one creature a little bit higher, and maybe those are just the 2 points you need to win the game. In addition to artifacts and enchantments, you can also give haste through creatures. Urbrask the Hidden. Creatures you control have haste, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Slow down your opponents and speed yourself up. Anger. This one takes a little bit of work. It's a 2/2 for 4 mana that does have haste itself. And as long as Anger is in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. So this is good if you have maybe a black-red deck where you're dumping cards into your graveyard, or if you just want to swing a 2/2 at somebody that you know is going to block it and put it in the graveyard. Now all of your creatures have haste, as long as you have a mountain on the field. Enduring Courage is a newer one. The 3/3 for 4 mana. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. It's a creature, but when it dies, it comes back as an enchantment. So that gives you a much longer chance of keeping this effect on the field. Anytime you play a creature, it gets a slight buff and gains haste until end of turn. You maybe have a token deck and you're able to make a whole bunch of tokens all at once. This could be a great way to finish the game. And finally, how about Samet Voice of Dissent? Green and red, 3/4 for 5 mana, flash, so it could come in instantly, double strike, vigilance, and haste, but more importantly for you, other creatures you control have haste. And you can pay a white and tap it to untap another target creature. Finally, there are a couple ways to give all of your creatures haste, but they have a bit of a risk to them. How about Mass Hysteria and Concordant Crossroads? They say all creatures have haste, so that means your opponent's creatures as well. But if you're confident that you can make more creatures with bigger power and toughness faster than your opponents, why not put them in your deck? They only cost 1 mana each for green or red, depending on the card. There are plenty of creatures and enchantments that can give your creatures haste either temporarily or as a constant buff. These are just a few of the best ones that can help get you started. What cards would you recommend? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time.